Alrighty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stwart Peña. I am the co-founder and CEO of MacroCycle Technologies, the venture creating circular plastics with zero carbon emissions. I want to tell you about my startup and what we're doing to tackle this climate crisis, or part of it. And then I want to tell you about my own personal journey as to how I came to Sloan, why Sloan, and how Sloan has enabled me to be here today in front of you guys, and how it has enabled me to accomplish so much in so little time. With that, the first question I wanted to ask you guys is, raise your hand if you actually know where those water bottles end up once they have been placed in the recycling bin. Where do they end up? Correct. Because the reality is, less than 20% of all our plastic globally produced actually gets recycled, with the remaining amount ending up in our landfills, in our oceans, specifically in the Pacific, or it gets incinerated. And this results in 4.5% of all global CO2 emissions to be associated to the plastic life cycle. So the question naturally comes to, why can we recycle more and solve both of these problems? Well, some of the biggest brands out there are trying to address this issue by committing to circularity pledges. They have promised a minimum amount of recycled plastic that needs to go into their finished products. But at the moment, they're all going to be unable to meet such pledges, and they just keep pushing them out and out farther ahead. Why is this? When we started talking to those customers, it started becoming clear, where they've communicated that the recycled plastic right now in the market is hard to find, and its quality is inconsistent. When they start putting it in, if they go above 30%, the bottles start falling apart. So they're having difficulties integrating solutions or finding the solutions to start with. And this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, as over the next few years, there's going to be a massive supply gap between the available recycled plastic in the market and how much the companies need to implement into their packaging to avoid fines from the government, whether it's in the US or Europe. So, what is happening from a technology perspective? The main technologies in the industry is mechanical recycling, a low energy technology that can only decrease the quality of the plastic as it's being recycled. You can take a bottle made up of long polymers and turn it into a t-shirt made of short polymers, but never the other way around, meaning that it eventually has to be disposed of into our landfills or incinerated. A new fossil fuel-derived plastic has to be generated to meet the demand of high-quality plastics in the world. The technologies that can address this quality dilemma are the advanced recycling solutions. Unfortunately, they are too energy intensive. They work largely by breaking the polymer all the way down to fuel or monomers, and then you have to rebuild them, re-put them together to produce the original polymer through the traditional processes. This is basically taking an extra step that can result in significantly higher CO2 emissions compared to traditional means of plastic production. So, what we need is a technology that is able to eliminate the energy-intensive steps while still producing a high-quality product. Well, that is where MacroCycle comes in, where instead of breaking bonds, we're making new bonds. Through our patented technology, we take the polymer chain, and instead of breaking it, we keep its structure and tie it with itself to create a new intermediate called a MacroCycle. That is where the name of the company comes from. And in this new intermediate step, we're able to bypass the energy-intensive steps, because when we extract those macrocycles, we then can open them up again. And when we open them, they actually want to combine with each other to create a longer linear polymer chain. Therefore, we can upgrade the plastic waste to a virgin state without ever having to break the plastic down. This is what it looks like. With our first product being PET and polyester, we can take bottles or fibers of any quality, we put it through our reactor where we're able to create this intermediate while removing the contaminants such as color from the plastic or the fibers. We then extract this intermediate and we can produce the virgin grade PET pellets ready for all relevant commercial applications as a drop-in solution. And what's even better is that because we don't break the plastic down, on a base case, our process requires 80% less energy compared to traditional means of plastic production. The remaining 20% can then be electrified with renewable energy to achieve recycling with zero carbon emissions. At scale, MacroCycle can eliminate over 2% of all global CO2 emissions through our technology. So what is our final product? Our final product is the MacroCycle PET pellet, a pellet of virgin grade conditions made with zero carbon emissions, no green premium is required, and impurity free, shiny and clear, ready for all those applications. Why can we not charge the green premium? Our cost basis is on par with virgin PET, meaning that we can actually compete head-on against the petrochemical industries producing the plastic. But since we produce a recycled pellet that comes with eliminating our customers' Scope 3 emissions, we can actually charge and capture that premium in the market, allowing us to be more profitable to scale up a lot quicker. How quick? We plan to do it quick. You're gonna hear about our journey, but I just graduated from Sloan last year, and this month at the engine, we're gonna be scaling up to 5 tons per year. This is the pilot that will enable us to start sending products to our customers, and then in 2 years, we plan to construct our first commercial plant of 1,000 tons per year for us to be able to demonstrate our technology at scale. So we're moving quick, and let's see what we can accomplish in the meantime. With that, I now wanted to explain my own journey. How did I come to be here? How can someone with an MBA degree be working on something so cool and hard tech and so technical? Well, I'm gonna give you a little bit of that insight. So, this is me as a baby, you know, super young and naive to the world, when I had just graduated from Cornell as a chemical engineer. So I have a technical background as a chemical engineer, and shaped by my childhood, my dream was to create a world of light for people around this world and lift them out of the darkness figuratively and literally so they can enjoy the beauties that this world has to offer. And with that, kind of one of my goals was to democratize access to energy. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, I need to learn how energy works at a large scale. How do I do this? I decided to accept a job at ExxonMobil, working for the largest company out there in the energy industry. And you know, I knew about Exxon and some of the things that they've done and are still doing, but my mindset was, I want to make evil less evil. So with that, I went on to become an engineer at ExxonMobil and get as much experience as I could. And I sure did. Especially my last role there during 2020. This is me with the face mask that they provided us during COVID, training to be an operator for ExxonMobil's first recycling unit. Any advertisement or commercial you see about ExxonMobil Circularity, that was my technology, that was my baby. I can tell you the truth about it, it's not too pretty. But it gave me a great introduction to chemical recycling and how that truly works in the real world. But what ExxonMobil gave me the most was kind of a reality check as to how the real world works. So for those of you who don't know, Exxon ranks all their employees. And the previous year, I was just ranked as a top 1/3 employee, which was the highest rank you could be given, and usually unheard of for a first-time employee being ranked. So I was very proud, I was very confident. I went into this role, and I had just been transferred from headquarters to the refinery. For anyone that has worked in the energy industry, you know that the refinery is really dirty. That's where the money's made. That's when the real culture can be observed. And with that, it became clear that I was a peacock in the land of penguins in many ways. And what ended up happening after working in this project, which was very fun and exciting and being part of this initiative, is that it became clear that I was not a match at Exxon. And when I walked in for my feedback while working in the recycling plant, I was given the feedback of, Stwart, your positivity and confidence is perceived as arrogant and as a technical veteran. Therefore, we deemed you need significant improvement, and you've been placed in the performance improvement program. I was laid off. And to this day, it is one of the saddest days of my life, definitely professionally. I remember going back home to my roommate, and I just broke down in tears. Because at that point in time, I kind of started envisioning myself being an executive at Exxon that could create a large impact, making evil less evil. And all I knew and all I was doing was just taken out of me out of nowhere. And I was lost, and I didn't know what to do. But I knew that the world is so big out there. There's so many possibilities. So I started reflecting on myself and started thinking, what is it that I want to do? And Exxon made me realize a lot of things. One, Exxon made it clear to me what kind of culture I wanted to work for or start. And it was one where everyone is welcome, no matter who you are. Two, I realized that if I wanted to create a positive impact, it had to be through my own hands. Because if I was working for another large corporation, I needed to be relying on them wanting to make a positive change. Otherwise, it wasn't going to happen. And then personally, I realized that I didn't want to do engineering as much. I wanted to be the intersection of communication, business, with the technical background and the engineering background that I had at hand. So I started reflecting, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start my own company. But how the hell do you become an entrepreneur? I still had that question when I went through Delta V. But with that, I came across a beautiful framework. I started learning about the MIT Discipline Entrepreneurship and the 24 steps of entrepreneurship. And it's like, what is this? And that's when I started realizing, it's like, hold up. The MBA is a path towards entrepreneurship. And as I started researching this, it became really clear. The crazy part was I was laid off in July, and I didn't make my decision to apply to business school until September. So I had to scramble everything. It's like, what do I do? What do I want to do? Where do I go? And I don't know if this is really dumb or just I was really dedicated, but Sloan was the only business school that I actually applied when going on my MBA journey. Because it became clear to me that this was the only school that could unlock my dreams of becoming a hard tech entrepreneur. I didn't see the same in any other school. A little bit of Stanford, but I didn't want to go to California. So with that, I applied to Sloan, and I somehow got in. And with this is day one of orientation of business school. And I wanted to basically show this picture to show you who I truly was. A peacock ready to make a difference, a change. Come on, like, look at the blazer. And I had the time of my life there. But what was even more amazing from my hard tech entrepreneurship perspective is I knew I wasn't the PhD student that could create the hard tech technology. I knew that my strength was is understanding the technology and being the translator for the greater world. And with that, I had the honor and pleasure of meeting my MacroCycle brother, Dr. Jan-George Rosenboom, who comes out of the Langer Lab as a postdoc. I met him at a class called Climate and Energy Ventures. And when I saw his technology in the plastic recycling space, the technology I just pitched to you, I thought it was too good to be true. And I wanted to work with him to actually prove him wrong and show him how industry really worked, only for me to realize that his technology was true and really good. And with that, we've embarked on a journey of creating what MacroCycle is today, what you've seen during that presentation. And we started building a team with interns, full-time hires, where we're growing bigger and bigger, and it's exciting how MIT enabled that connection. When you bring some of the greatest business-minded individuals with the people with the technical skills and innovation together, and you put them in the same room, a lot of cool things can happen. So our personal journey. I came to Sloan. I took a lot of entrepreneurship classes through Sloan. You can see them there. But my co-founder actually has a more interesting story where he wanted to be an entrepreneur, but he didn't know how. His first experience was the Blueprint Engine program that allowed him to get started with how does entrepreneurship work. But he still didn't know what a business model was. So when he came into that class, we were able to complement each other's skills quite a lot. And we started embarking on the journey. And we took advantage of almost every program available, with some of the major ones being Sandbox. We got $15,000 that allowed us to start getting some equipment, to start traveling to some conference, or start talking to people. We then won one of the prizes of the Clean Energy Prize, which was our first public reveal, and it was super exciting, winning our first big check. We then, through the MIT connection, got accepted into the Bill Gates Fellowship, the Breakthrough Energy Fellowship. And that's when it became real. I was like, oh, we can actually do this. $500,000 grant for us to scale up this technology. And then we went to Delta V, which I'll cover a little bit more. And that led us to where we are today, which is the engine, where we're currently scaling up half a mile away from here, doing some cool stuff, I would like to say. But with that, Delta V, and this is the last thing I'll cover. Delta V was the program that made us who we are today because it set us our foundation. I didn't know how to incorporate. And then something as simple as that, I didn't know how to do. Delta V helped me with those little things. I didn't know how to target customers. I didn't know actually like the applications of it until they made us do it. They coached us and they helped us. And it all culminating a beautiful presentation during demo day, which if you guys haven't seen, I still highly recommend you guys watch the video. But it was so fun, and it was a grand reveal and exposure that allows us to come out to the world. So like here, Microcycle is here to make a difference. And we're so grateful to have gone through this experience, because if it wasn't for Delta V, I don't think we could have moved as fast as we have so far to this day, or avoided some of the mistakes that we could have made along the way. But yeah, this is the team so far. We have 2 hires. We have started to grow a really diverse team. As I learned from Exxon, I wanted to make sure I create a company where everyone was welcome. Right now, with me, my co-founder, and our 2 hires, we have 4 different nationalities. We have 6 different languages represented. If you include our interns, we have 8 different languages, 7 different countries, or 6. And I'm living my dream right now. It's truly the best thing I could have asked for, and it all happened because of Sloan. With that, the last thing I wanted to say is, if you can help my journey, if you can help MacroCycle's journey, whether it's with customers in the plastic space or with investors, please do connect. Because together, MacroCycle can create a cleaner, more circular future for everyone today. Thank you.